Welcome everyone. In just a few minutes we're going to start our presentation saying on what being a Bunkie Lifer is all about, how to be one, what's it like. And we are 10 days away from announcing the winner of our first ever USA contest to win a Bunkie. We're giving away our Haven Ultra Bunkie. How's it going, Christopher Gorman? Welcome, Bo Bradley. So if you haven't already entered, go to bunkielife.com. If you're in the USA and you're over 18, you're eligible. Thanks, Paula Lockhart. Hey, Lisa Daniels. Wendy. Amanda Vasquez. Cause I'll never see the sun again if I am losing you. No, I'll never see the sun again if I am losing you. Put a jacket on, shut the windows tight, we'll need an extra blanket to make it through the night. It came so slow, we didn't see it until it was already here. And I feel like we are changing with the seasons of the year. Oh, and where have you gone, my summer's day? All the leaves are on the ground and the birds have flown away. The trees all look so naked, and I feel naked too. Cause I'll never see the sun again if I am losing you. No, I'll never see the sun again if I am losing you. So many things I did without thinking about. So many things I did I should have done without. Now the words I've left unspoken are now completely gone, and all I can do is try my best to get the furnace on. Oh, where have you gone, my summer's day? All the leaves are on the ground and the birds have flown away. The trees all look so naked, and I feel naked too. Cause I'll never see the sun again if I am losing you. These hands that once were warm feel so cold. This face that used to smile feels so old, and I need you now more than ever. So come back. Where have you gone, my summer's day? All the trees are on the ground and the birds have flown away. The trees all look so naked, and I feel naked too. Cause I'll never see the sun again if I am losing you. No, I'll never see the sun again if I am losing you. No, I'll never see the sun again if I am losing. Alright, we got a live stream. It's going to be fantastic. Stick around. We'll be right back. Hey, I'm David Fraser, founder of Bunkie Life. We're in the building industry, but what we're famous for are small log cabin kits called bunkies that can be easily built in a weekend without needing any special skills, tools, or second mortgages. Ultimately, we help our clients create extra space for meaningful connection. Yes, we help our clients get a cool bunkie, but if you think it's just about the bunkie, you've already missed the point. Really, what this is about is creating the space and time for more meaningful connection. Having a bunkie is just part of that journey.
Mary just mentioned Bunkie Life family, and I really feel like something like this and just the whole experience is we did more than just buy a bunkie.
It's not just about the space, but what happens in the space, how it enables more connection. It allows you to spend that quality time with friends and family. It allows you to be there for each other in both senses of the phrase.
Merry Christmas!
Our family realized this when we were going through a tough time. We needed our family beside us. We had created that extra space with our own bunkie in our own backyard, and we realized how truly important it is to have the whole family together. Bunkie Life is the market leader in educational videos and content as we pioneer this growing industry. Our goal is to be the go-to source for fun, friendly, and helpful advice for families, whether they buy from us or not. Our core offering is an easy to build or built for you bunkie kit. This helps our clients quickly and easily create extra space without any building experience. We're proudly a Canadian-made family business right here in Ontario. Our bunkie is often the difference between that friend or family member coming to visit or not, being there for each other or not. The reason we do this is we believe family comes first. And when it comes to being there for each other, there are no do-overs. That's one of the reasons we've partnered with Ronald McDonald House Charities in their goal of keeping families close. Because ultimately, we want to help build a world where families everywhere have a place to unite, unwind, and unplug. We've committed to donating a night's stay at a Ronald McDonald House for every bunkie we sell. Hey guys, I brought you this huge novelty check.
Oh,
Check it out.
Oh my gosh.
There you go.
David, this is incredible.
And as of the end of 2023, our team and our Bunkie Life community have been proud to donate close to $200,000. I get up every morning excited to help families create extra space for meaningful connection. Thanks so much for listening, and I can't wait to hear from you. All right, well, I'm super excited to be talking about my favorite thing, which is the Bunkie Lifer. So the reason we get up every morning, of course, is to serve people that are Bunkie Lifers, people who have bought bunkies and shipped them somewhere across North America, built them usually with their friends and their family. And so today we're just going to talk about what is that all about? What is that? What are the actual steps you need to take to become a Bunkie Lifer? What does it look like? We'll interview an actual live Bunkie Lifer today who's waiting patiently as a special guest. And we're just going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. It's going to be a no holds barred thing, and we'll have questions and answers at the end as well. In case you haven't heard, we are giving away another bunkie, Jonathan Biggs. We are giving away a Haven Ultra bunkie, which is our most popular model. It's anyone in the USA is eligible for it. And if you're Canadian watching this, please don't be too bummed out. We've done, I think, 10 Canadian or Ontario only ones. So don't get too bummed out. We'll be back for you, Canada. But this one is just for the lower side of the border in Alaska. Okay, so that's what we're doing right now. And if you haven't already entered, you can still do it on the website. It's going on until next Wednesday, so it's about 10 days left. So let's talk a little bit about what today's itinerary is. We're going to intro, welcome everyone. I think I've done that. Talk a little bit about the final schedule for the last few live streams. There's just a few left. If you want to get in on our pre-sale, which is like the end of summer sale, if you want early access to it, I'll explain how to do so just a minute. And then, like I said, I can do a presentation on what it's like to be a Bunkie Lifer, and then we have a special guest as well as Q&A. And I don't think there'll actually be a bonus announcement. That is today's live stream. And it should be pretty fun. All right. Let us talk about the schedule. So the upcoming live stream. So today we are in the tail end of this week. So it's being a Bunkie Lifer is tonight. And tomorrow night, if you're interested, we're going to be doing a presentation on earning bunkie income. So how do you make money by renting out bunkies? Not everyone's into it. It's not everyone's cup of tea, of course. But if that's something you're thinking about, or like maybe paying off the bunkie with renting it out, I'll talk a little bit from my experience. I've done that for many, many years, and share some of the dozens and dozens of clients that have done the exact same thing and had some really great success to share. So that's kind of tomorrow night's presentation, if you're interested. And our end of summer sale begins very shortly. I'll explain that in a moment, but let's also look to the end of the contest. So this week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, not much going on, but then a Monday, so a week from tomorrow, we'll have the very special live stream about why we do this, the whole story behind Bunkie Life, the reason Carrie and I are so vested in this endeavor. Talk a little bit about that, and then of course we're announcing the winner on Wednesday the 27th, just exactly 10 days away. So that's our schedule. As soon as the contest ends, the end of summer sale kicks off officially, and it will go for about 2 weeks roughly, a little less than 2 weeks. So that is going to be key if you are all thinking about getting one this fall or winter or next spring. That is all I will say about that. And let's talk about we interviewed a bunch of people about what is it like to be a Bunkie Lifer, what was your experience, and then we kind of put a bunch of them together so that this is like kind of the quick rapid fire version of what is it like to be a Bunkie Lifer, and then I'll talk more about how to become a Bunkie Lifer. This is a really rough overview. If someone was inquiring about just the overall experience with Bunkie Life, they're like, hey, how did Bunkie Life treat you, or how did the whole experience go with Bunkie Life? What would you say to them?
It's been fantastic. I go back to all of what we did with the personal visit, the personal tour. There's always follow-up. It's top-notch.
Yeah, Bunkie Life has been so great to work with. Every staff member that we've talked to has been personal and professional and efficient and just really kind. Yeah, we've had a great experience from start to finish.
It was awesome work with you guys. Like the ordering process was so simple and easy in that. And the contact for delivery date was just right on the button and that. Like you said, it's going to be here this time. It was here this time. And it was so easy. The communication back and forth was just perfect.
Deb did make a call on a Saturday once to your team and got a good response that helped us when we were kind of unsure. The kit was everything it was promised to be. And the support was everything that it was promised to be.
You know, you feel like, you guys are like right there if you need anything. We need anything. The service, amazing. Communication is really good. The product that you deliver is top notch.
On the ordering process and getting that was crystal clear, and the people calling right back, or you get people live. That's the nice thing. Just the support and the responsiveness from the folks at your team is unbelievable.
You feel like you're somebody throughout the whole process, and you're not just some address where you're dropping something off.
David, we're so happy with the Bunkie the way it is right now. I think the confidence of knowing that it was like a big Lego set, and you didn't need a ton of construction knowledge with it. Made it good.
It's back to that attitude where people care about each other. There was no issues with anything. Like I don't think I even had to call you guys other than to change the shipping date.
It was probably one of the easiest things I've bought. It was just a matter of choosing what I wanted and making up my mind. Once I decided what I wanted to do, they made it happen real quick, and it was a seamless process.
Just letting people know, hey, you're not quote unquote alone. We're here to help you if you need help. I think that's also really reassuring. I don't know that you really could do much more. And so I would submit that our experience was, 5 stars across the board.
My challenge, David, is I'm trying to convince the other people on our lake who want to build a Bunkie. I just want to build another one. Right?
I'm very confident that should we need something, you guys are going to be there.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about this I guess not yesterday, but last live stream. And so we are about to launch our epic end of summer sale. It's always a great deal, and it's going to be our hottest deal of the year. If you're interested in potentially hearing about it early, though, you can email me, david@bunkielife.com, with the subject line sale. A lot of people emailed me this past couple of days. I apologize if I haven't got back to you yet, but I will be getting back to them, to everybody in priority sequence. So the first people to email me will be the first people to hear about it and get a chance to think about it. So check it out if you're all interested. David at bunkielife.com. And let's talk about the logistics of, what is it like to become a Bunkie Lifer, and what do you get? What's the whole package like? So let's go into that a little bit. So this is my little presentation on what the heck it's like to be a Bunkie Lifer. Okay, let's give this a whirl. Hopefully you guys can see my screen okay. Okay. All right, let's do this and move a few things. Okay. This is called Being a Bunkie Lifer. So why do we do this is the question, right? Our reason why is Bunkie Life exists to help families create extra space for meaningful connection. And the way we do that is through our product. It's called the Bunkie Kits, many different SKUs. This is, I think, a Rockwood going up here. This is a Haven Ultra going up here. So we want to make the experience easy enough that the average Joe or Josephine can build it together with their family. We want to make the experience from ordering to delivery to building as fun and stress-free as possible. So it's something you can actually do with your kids and with your family. And so the little video that I'm playing off to the side, this is a video that a client just posted to us on Twitter, which is really nice of them. And you can see it's just like, it's a family endeavor. And we get these type of videos probably once a week. And so it's not just an amazing space to connect with your family, it's also an experience that will help walk you through that you can kind of do together as a family as well. Now, my story, of course, is we ran out of space, right? So Bunkie Life began as a single bunkie that just helped our family out, just like this family here. And we needed a bunkie for extra space. And so we built our very first bunkie, and it was a solution to our problem. I thought this can help other people. So if you're interested in learning more, this is what the whole customer journey is like. So the first thing you want to do is you want to email me, David at Bunkie Life, or info at Bunkie Life, and just say, subject line, I'm in. I'm sure you're going to have some last minute questions. That's totally cool. We're happy to book a call with you or a video call, or we can just bounce emails back and forth and answer all your questions about your specifics. And that's kind of the first step. If that's something that you want to move forward with, we will drop a proper invoice. We just need your home address. We need your mailing address, the best phone number to reach you, and which bunkie or bunkies you need. We'll check all over to make sure it's correct, and then put that together and ask for a deposit. So we do a deposit to secure the bunkie, and that also secures your production slot at our factory as well. There's lots of payment options. In the US, we take Zelle, ACH, Wire, old school, pop a check in the mail, a Bitcoin. We don't really take cash very often, but we can if you really need to. And we accept all major credit cards, but we do have to charge a small fee. Alternatively, you can actually finance a bunkie turned into low monthly payments. If you want to learn more about that end of things, go to bunkielife.com/ I think my head's in the way, financing, bunkielife.com/financing. And then, of course, from there, after you made your deposit, we will instantly invite you to the Bunkie Life community. This is a very cool perk of being a Bunkie Lifer. I think it's over 2,100 people now, all across North America. There's amazing ideas, support, helpful resources from people who've actually been in your shoes, built the bunkie themselves with their friends and family, have tips, they have tricks. You can ask questions on there. Pretty much any question you have will be answered on this private group. A lot of the posts that we have publicly, some of them actually make it from here to the public page, but it's really 1/100th of what's in there in that private only group. So if you have questions about, what do you do for air conditioning? What do you do for heating? All that good stuff. It's been answered and debated 1,000 times on the private group, and you get answers really quick from people all over North America. So from there, once you've put your order in and you join the group, the Bunkie kit starts being created right away. We're ordering the wood, we're making it. You'll also at the same time receive your build videos. So there's a build video for each manual. It's for each model. They're between 20 and sometimes an hour long videos. You can download them to your iPad or your computer or your phone, so you can play it, watch it a million times, send it to your friends and family. You also get the instruction manuals, which are very detailed from beginning to middle to end, take you through every step where each individual piece goes. And you'll get your foundation plans, which can be helpful if you're waiting for the bunkie to actually arrive. You can already have your foundation ready to go. And then we'll work with you on arranging your actual delivery details. from there, of course, it's delivery day. And we can go right to your door in most cases, or if you want, you can pick up at our factory in Rockwood, Ontario, or we also have kind of shipping depots set up strategically across North America. Sometimes it makes sense to ship to there. And we've got 2 versions of delivery. We can do a group delivery where the truck will arrive and you'll take it off the truck piece by piece, which is not, takes about an hour or so or less if you have lots of folks to help. Or we have what we call white glove service or private delivery, where we'll go right to your house with, you can see a forklift here. Sometimes it's a crane, but it's a private machine that can drop the bunkie off exactly where you need it. So those are both options. And sometimes we'll do very cheap or sometimes even free shipping. And sometimes we'll do like subsidized shipping. So it depends on where you're at, but the best bet is email me and we can work out those details. And then it gets to the fun part, which is build day. Gather your friends and family or get a contractor. And most clients report they can put their bunkies together in about 1 to 3 days of bunkie build bonding. I'll share this video that someone sent in for kicks and giggles. So they just finished day 1. Here's day 2. So that is, a time-lapse video of like some clients sent in a pretty remote area. Some people are asking, we're in a remote area. Well, that's kind of what we're known for, is getting bunkie kits to pretty remote areas. That if you can get, even a small ATV into your location, you can probably get a bunkie there. Just the way that the kit comes together. So we'll take questions to it towards the end. So if you have specific questions, we can talk about that as well. And that's pretty much it. A great feeling of accomplishment. It's your own place to unite, unwind, and unplug. And it's that, that group bonding experience. This is a story of Lynn Hago, who this is probably 6 or 7 years ago. He called me up and said, "Hey, I really want to do this with my grandson." And they put that bunkie together behind them there, one of our first models back in the day. And it was just really cool to see that he saw it as not just a great addition to his backyard and a place that his family could stay in when they visit, but also just an experience of just him and his grandson building something together. So that's a photo they sent in when they're done. And that makes us proud when we see those kind of things come in. It's why we do this. So, our main reason why, as I said, let me just share this story. This is a gentleman from Maine. Peter, why are you building a cabin on a mountain?
2 years ago, my daughter got married, and she was having a hard time finding housing. Young people these days don't have a lot of choices, so we decided we'd give her our house. She liked it. She grew up there. So after we gave her our house, we decided to move to Maine because we could move anywhere we wanted to. So we moved up here next to Acadian National Park, and I started missing the cabin that we used to have. When we moved to Maine, we sold that cabin. So I've been thinking about getting a cabin, and then one day I saw an ad on the internet, mountaintop for sale. I thought, that can't be true. A mountaintop for sale? 10 acres on a mountaintop for sale. So I Went and looked at it. My wife and I looked at it last year. It had been on the market for quite some time, and I didn't know why nobody had snapped it up, because it's a beautiful spot, a beautiful view, and what a great place to build a cabin. So then we started looking to do a cabin, and we found Bunkie Life as we compared other models, but Bunkie Life was the one that seemed really easy to build, and I'm not a construction guy or a contractor, so I said, this is something I can do myself with limited carpentry skills. It's just like putting together Lincoln logs or Lego, and I found that it's very easy. I've already done this cabin by myself. Yeah, looking forward to the end when I have the whole thing done and I can just sit here and look at the view.
So yeah, we want to make make sure that the experience that you have from the delivery up to the mountain to the actual build process goes as smoothly and stress-free as possible. And there's more to what we do as well. We'll talk a little about this next week. But choosing to work with a made in North America family business like Bunkie Life supports our family, our team members' families, hundreds of suppliers, their families all across the North American economy. And for every Bunkie we sell, we donate a night's stay at a Ronald McDonald House charity in their goal of keeping families close. We'll talk a little more about that, not this Monday, but next Monday. So I want to thank you for considering, working with us. We look forward to the possibility of helping you and your family create extra space for meaningful connection. Like I said earlier, if you want to get started, email me, info@bunkielife.com, subject line, I'm in. If you want to just learn about the sale, you can do the same thing and just subject line, sale. Now, another thing I always like to address is, what if something goes wrong and I can't actually go through with this? This is a good little segment here. I hope you can hear this. What if I change my mind? Well, if life happens and you need to back out, you can get a full refund as soon as we sell your Bunkie to someone else. That's basically our return policy, minus any credit card fees or weird little, bank fees. This is an example of a real client or almost client from Wisconsin who had issues with their local mafia, and this is how we handled it. So I thought this might be useful if you're thinking, what if I, need to change my mind? So here we go. So when you asked for a refund, what happened exactly? Yeah.
Yeah. It went very well. I mean, I got an email, and I just sent my checking account number and routing number, and then it came immediately. So, okay. No problems. I mean, we still shake our head at the whole process of what these dorks in this little town, they put us through a lot. You folks were wonderful.
Okay, that's good to know. Was there anything about the return experience or the refund experience that we could have improved on?
No, not at all. I mean, we read over the contract, so we knew, what the process was, that the Bunkie had to be resold, so we knew there would be a waiting period. And as far as how everything went, you folks were out of this world, wonderful to work with, very understanding. I lost sleep and was practically in tears. I don't know how many times over the whole ordeal. And I see all the beautiful bunkies going up on Facebook on the different groups that I follow. And it's just like, I'll forever be sorry we couldn't do it. But the experience with you guys was wonderful. The fact that we had to, abort the whole issue was heartbreaking, but,
Okay,
it is
good.
what it is.
That's really good to hear, because I just want to, I think we didn't have a whole ton of people. It was like a pretty small handful of people that needed to kind of change gears last year. I just want to make sure we were still treating them good. And
Yeah.
Would it be okay if I quoted a couple of things you said there, just because I would assume it's something people think about and they go, oh, well, am I really, do I want to give money to these crazy people in Canada? You know what I mean? Like, I'm actually going to get it back if I need to, you know what I'm saying?
We were not a bit worried about that aspect at all. And the whole process was a wonderful experience for us. And we just wish, like anything, we could have seen it through, because we were super excited. So I've got nothing but good to say there, as far as from beginning to end and having to go through the refund. I hated to do it. I hated to do it, but
Yeah.
It had to be done. So.
Very fair. Okay. Well, Carolyn, I wish you all the best. I'll let you get to your family, and I guess, is it okay if I kind of take a few of the things you said just as like a closing?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Sure, absolutely. And enjoy your new little one. And I look forward to seeing pictures on Facebook.
Okay, I'll keep posting them. Thanks, Carolyn.
All right, so can everybody hear her side of the call? It sounded like some people were not able to hear her side of the call, but I think it was playing. Let me know if you were able to hear Carolyn's side of the call. Okay, yeah, gotcha. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's pretty much my little summary of today. Boom, a place to unite. I wanted to unplug. Let's go and make some memories with your kids today. That's kind of the message. Okay, people are saying they could hear. That's good. Okay, good. All right, that is more or less my presentation. We will take questions, of course, but I thought before that, wouldn't it be cool if we actually got, not me talking about what it's like. Obviously, I have 6 bunkies myself, but it's one thing if the bunkie guy says it. It's another thing if someone who's actually actively building bunkies right now shares from their experience. And I specifically asked Jeff, I said, Jeff, one of like a couple people from our team were like, you got to talk to Jeff. He's doing something epic. And, Jeff is probably the super, I think his wife Holly's also joining us, which is great. So they're doing like the super like Bunkie Life to the max here. But I want them to share their story because I think you can relate to the fact that, they are just normal people like everybody else. And they're going for their dreams. They're building something pretty crazy and epic. And they're able to speak from experience because I think yesterday in the last 3-4 days, they have actually been, swinging the hammers and doing the thing. So they're the freshest Bunkie Lifers that we know of right now. So if you could join me in welcoming Jeff and Holly from a nondescript location somewhere in the Midwest, Mideast. So hold on, let me get you guys in. Okay, there's my intro. Jeffrey. Okay, can you guys see? Hold on. My tech skills are not good. Jeff, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Can we hear you?
Yeah.
That's the next question.
Can you hear me?
We're off mute.
You should be able to hear us at this point.
Okay, Jeff, I'm not sure I can hear you. Can you hear us?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. Okay. Yes, we can hear everybody. Okay, well, I can't hear Jeff, but that's fine. Let me just double check and make sure I can see them as well. Okay. So we got that. Okay, and you guys can't see them yet. Guess one. And then okay. I'll try to add them as a camera here. Okay. Okay. Bear with me, everybody. So, okay. Let's do this. I think I know what I need to do. Okay. And I think I can hear you guys now. Jeff, can you guys yell?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Awesome. Okay, cool.
Great.
Fantastic. Okay, so I'll just try to get your camera working, but if you could, while I'm getting that figured out, introduce yourselves. Where you don't want to say exactly where you're from, but give us the rough view.
Well, I'm Jeff Newton. This is my wife Holly Hughes, and we're in Virginia. We live in Virginia.
Okay.
And the United States, and we're starting this little mini resort. We bought 10 bunkies left from you guys just around the New Year's. We're trying to beat the Trump tariffs, which was fun. And then we bought 4 more bathhouses soon after, I think, which didn't beat the Trump tariffs, but you guys split it with us. So just to be clear, that the governments don't pay the tariffs.
Right. Yeah. That's very clear.
Just so the president, if he's unsure about his own tariff policy, we're here to confirm that the government didn't pay it.
Okay. And that's actually a pretty good point that a lot of people have been commenting on is like, how do tariffs affect you guys? And right now, I mean, 99% of our bunkies are made in Canada and they still have 0% tariff. Luckily, we weren't sure at the time in January what the heck was going on. So most of the bunkies, like the Haven Ultra, has 0% tariff. It's just our little bathroom bunkie, and our summer cabin has a very tiny, I think it's 10% or something.
I think it comes over from Estonia, right?
Yeah, because they're
Yeah.
thinner walls. Anyways, it's a long story on that one, but yeah, they're the only two that we aren't making ourselves in our Canadian factory. So
Right.
So yeah, thought I'd
But we
clear
did
that
we
one
did
up.
order them early just in case he did impose them, and then took it off and imposed, took it off and took it off. So we ordered them and paid for them early. If you probably remember,
Yeah.
Bryn was frantically trying to figure out how we could get them across the border right around Christmas time.
Yeah, classic. Like that's like pretty much to encapsulate the chaos that is this year.
Yeah, and we also picked up a cabana, which we're still getting ready to put up. We're a little bit behind schedule on that because of the excavation of the site, but we basically excavated about, I don't know, a couple acres,
Wow.
and we have 135 acres that we've. This was sort of like, just for people who don't know our story, where we Holly and I decided that we wanted to. I'm a journalist. I've spent my career as a producer at 60 Minutes and National Geographic and that kind of place, and Holly's a finance exec at Raytheon, a defense contractor. And we just were, I'm getting older, we're getting older. Most of my life I've covered conflicts for a living, and Holly looks at numbers all day. And we just kind of decided we wanted to get away from that and start something else, do something different.
Mhm.
So we bought a 135-acre property after looking at like 30 properties, and in these mountains of Virginia, and decided after about a year of looking at different places that we could buy cabins from, we settled on you guys. And some of our friends were like, "Are you going to buy one or two and see how they are?" We're like, "Nope, we're going to buy 10. We're
I
going
get
to
the
start with
impression
10."
you guys aren't the type of people that just dip your toe in. You're like, I'm just gonna dive in head first. That's kind of
Man, I'm 57, and Holly's, young, a little younger than that. So
Done playing around.
yeah, we didn't want to waste any time. And so the daunting task of when it really became daunting for us was when they arrived on the 18-wheeler, and we had the entire 18-wheeler with
the Jeff and
15.
Holly truck. It was just the Jeff and Holly truck, and the whole
Yeah,
for you
it
guys.
was. Apparently, the driver, they said they're going to drive it from, I guess, Michigan, because we had them shipped across to Michigan to avoid any tariff issues. And they were sitting there for a while, and then they came down to us, and the driver drove all night, and then arrived early in the morning. And we had the white glove thing, because I did not want to be dealing with 15 buildings in one day by myself,
Going up a mountain hollow.
going up a mountain hollow and snapping them in half or whatever. So you guys coordinate the the white glove delivery stuff with a local guy who was a couple hours away. He showed up to drag him off the 18-wheeler and position him about 400 yards up the hollow where we have this site excavated. And we had foundations already built, which took us, we're doing something different than just sort of like a mom and pop extra building. So
Yep.
we did 10 initial foundations, which took, I think the foundations just to put them on took 6 weeks, and we put 10 bunkies up in 32 days.
Yeah.
So the foundations took longer than the bunkies themselves.
We have 14 bunkies.
Yeah.
We have 4 bathhouses in addition to the 10
Right.
living spaces.
Yeah. So the foundations are meant to, they're in sonotubes. We kind of went, I mean, by some standards, I guess we overbuilt them, but we want them to last a long time because it's gonna be our business and our sort of our retirement plan for a while.
Mhm.
And so we overbuilt these things and had, these 6 sonotubes that they sit on top of the foundation. Then the bunkies go on top of that. And yeah, we kind of embraced this whole idea that you guys put out there, which is that you and some of your friends can put one of these up in, 2 or 3 or 4 days.
Okay, now hold up, Jeff. That's what I wanted to get into. Okay, so
yeah,
we sold you on this crazy idea that you,
yeah,
as a you're an intellectual guy. You're like a journalist, right? Holly's a numbers person, right? We sold you
Yeah.
guys on this idea that you were going to build it yourselves with your friends and family.
Basically, we have 0 skills, not
Yeah.
only 0 skills to build bunkies, but 0 skills to live where we live in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, we just flying by the seat of our pants.
Yeah.
And what
So we-
happened there? So you had obviously this is a very big project, right? And you're coordinating a lot of stuff, but
Yeah.
when the nut hits the bolts and you got to like actually build it. Tell us about what that
Yeah.
was.
Well, we had the bunkies when they were delivered, we had them dropped right in front of each platform so that we wouldn't have to, move around a lot. But so, we started like months before that, sort of coordinating, hey, who wants to come be a part of this experience? And we put pretty wide feelers out to a lot of our friends and relatives and
mostly, for the most part, a lot more skilled at this stuff than we are. So that's the good news. We have smart friends.
Some of them flew in from like Oregon on the other side of the country, and some of them that I went to high school with drove like 6, 7 hours to be down here. Some people came from the coast of North Carolina, New York. I mean, just all over the United States, and they either flew or drove in just to be a part of doing it. And some people would stay 2 or 3 days and help put up one, and some people would stay. Like we had a guy here who he brought his Mercedes Airstream camper truck, and we were doing the math, and his camper cost more than all of our 10 Bunkies combined. He parked it in our backyard, and we hooked him up to water, and he stayed 3 weeks. He's a fighter pilot slash FedEx pilot now, but he also was a civil engineer for a while, and he helped us put up some bunkies, and we also put decks on all the bunkies, like kind of some elaborate, sort of wraparound decks like you see in a lot of the pictures that you guys have.
Yeah.
And we did that to give more space to these, smaller 200 square foot buildings. So we did 11 decks in 12 days.
Wow.
So, we were flying right along. And of course, we're not putting plumbing in any of the bunkies. So we had 4 bathhouses, and we're plumbing all the bathhouses, and, we're running electricity up the property like 400 yards. And then we're putting electricity from 2 400 amp server boxes to, we have a 400 amp server box that's up near the 10 bunkies, which will do this year's 10 bunkies. And then next year, our plan is to put in 5 more bunkies. And we're also putting in a cider bar, for people, because
the Cabana building.
Yeah, that's the Cabana, right? So, and on top of that, we have a sauna, like not your all sauna, but another sauna that was made by Amish folks in upstate New York, which we drove 24 hours round trip to pick up. So we had about this effort, we had about 30, probably 30 volunteers, and maybe, 8 or 9 contract people that worked for us. So we did the math. If we had 30 volunteers, we could put up 10 bunkies, right? 3 people put up a bunkie,
yeah,
maybe 4. And that's basically what we've been doing since the start, just grinding it out every day. We wake up every day, figuring out what we need to build, what we need to paint, what we need to stain, and then our goal is to create sort of a recreational experience. We're in a county of 2,200 people. I mean, it's a big county, but it's very population-wise, it's 5 people for every square mile.
Right.
And there's one blinking stoplight in the entire county. So we wanted to create on this 135 acres, which is mostly forested, an experience when people came up here, they were doing stuff and had stuff to do, mountain biking trails and, hiking trails, the sauna, the cider bar, having outdoor barbecue spaces and things like that. So we're trying to create like this. We're basically using Bunkie Life cabins to create a mini resort.
Mm-hmm. That is so cool.
Yeah.
What was
and
what were some of the things that the volunteers are like? Obviously, the guy stayed for a whole week, so that's good. That's a good sign. He must have been having a little bit of fun. But what was some of the feedback from people about their building experiences? And like, would you just send 3 people out and go build this, or would you always be at each project yourselves? Like, how
we started out being at the projects all of ourselves, but then, oftentimes I'd need to run to Lowe's to get stuff for decks or to get paint or stain or something. And then they just kind of kept working. I'd come back and there'd be one assembled, you know what I mean? The funniest part I think is most interesting is that I have some of the friends that were from here, that were contractors for us. They kind of like poo-pooed the idea of a bunkie house, right? Because they're carpenters and builders and all this kind of stuff. And they had this kind of like, oh yeah, sure, these things are going to be hilarious. Yeah. And then as the project kept going and getting bigger and moving more, the people who were working all the way through the process as contractors with us started like seeing and started, their whole attitude changed from this like, snobbery kind of thing to, man, these are pretty cool. Like you have a whole village up here now after 2 months. And they were, I think pleasantly surprised. And the people that worked for us that were volunteers, we put them up in the house here. We had another cabin. A friend of us gave us his cabin for a couple weeks, and we put some people up in cabins, and we ordered extra tents for people who, might come up and have to stay in a tent. And then we just served meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, and kind of try to keep people fed and not leaving the property,
Yeah.
so they could keep working. And I think that people who were up here working really kind of enjoyed it, because it became like it's like this big giant group project. And now when we open and we have this thing up and running, there's a very core group of people that'll be able to say that they were a part of building it, which is kind of, we bought some like, some memorabilia. What do you call it?
Swag.
Swag. We bought some swag and stuff for people, so people who came here would automatically right off the bat get something,
Yeah.
from us. And um, so we also told our friends, like, if you come and help for one night, we'll give you 2 nights later in the future. You can stay. But it's kind of ridiculous because
Is they all get to stay for free anytime they want.
yeah, because they're all our friends, right? What are you gonna say? You can all stay 2 days or something. So
One of the funniest parts about building is that after a couple of bunkies, and we have this core group that's kind of here the whole time, is everyone just starts to learn. They know exactly what parts are coming. They're like, just hand me an F1, hand me a C2.
Yeah.
It's really funny. Like you really start to, like, after the first bunkie took us what, like
the
3
first
4
book,
days, it
yeah.
was pouring rain. And then, after a few of them, we're knocking them out in a day and a half.
Yeah, I would say like the single story ones, we got 2 of the chalets, and those took us a day and a half. And then the others, as we got near the end, yeah, Holly's right. I could tell you like part numbers. If you build 10 bunkies over 30 days, you start knowing the part numbers in your sleep.
We'd start unpacking them and staging the pieces in the order we knew that they were coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just, yeah, you start feeling like a glorified sort of
Lincoln Logger.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I hate to use that term because it makes it sound like it's toy-like and cheap, but they really are put together in a way that when you assemble them, the hardest part? The hardest part is unpackaging the package. Like that takes you like 3 or 4 hours, with 2 or 3 people. And that was the part that like nobody looked forward to. So we would like hire high school kids at $15 an hour and have them unpackage everything and organize it for us because nobody was an adult.
For like 2 days and be like, I'm out.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
the fun part is like actually assembling it. The unfun part is
yeah. And the fun part was our friends getting to assemble it. And I think probably, the comfort level for me was I knew I had some friends around who were decent, okay carpenters. And the only thing I was ever scared about was, level and square. If something was level and square, I knew that the bunkie was going to work. But if it wasn't level and square, I knew that we'd have to make it level and square. So I really would like leave my friends alone until they would say, okay, here's the first 4 rows and it's level and square. And then I'd jump in and start working on stuff. But until then, I was terrified. It's just like one of those things that if you don't do carpentry your whole life, and I'm a filmmaker, what do I know about putting this stuff up? But I think over time, especially when we started putting stuff up, we started flying. And the other thing is, not everybody needs to be, like you could be like me, that's kind of like, not really good at much. Or you could be like my friends who are carpenters who, came and helped. Or you could be like somebody who is just part of the process and like make sure everybody gets fed all day and there's water. Like if you have 4 or 5 friends, there's going to be a job for everybody regardless of their skill level if you just think it through a little bit,
Mm-hmm. I feel like you guys could write like almost like a little how-to manual. Some people are
or how not to.
Yeah.
Like some people in the comments are like, I need to get Jeff and Holly's business plan and stuff like that too. So
yeah.
I feel like
the amount of we were flying by the seat of our pants was our business plan. That's cool. I mean, Holly's good with numbers, and we do have spreadsheets and all that kind of stuff. Or, we write down we know how much we're going to spend on furniture and all that kind of stuff, and we know what kind of heaters we should put in and not put in. And we decided not to put in mini splits because we had to put in 10 and they're pretty expensive, so we went with another option. And so we're doing all these kind of different things, and we're kind of learning as we go. And we didn't really look at a lot of stuff on the Bunkie Life after we got them. We didn't look at a lot of stuff that you guys had, which I think is a testament to the fact that you guys put them together so well. Because we had to grind and get at it. We had 10 to put up, and we had the first, and probably whenever I can't remember, June or whatever, July, whenever we started, we had a lot of rain. So we were like looking for weather windows to work in. Mm-hmm. And we weren't like online going, hey, how do you put this in? It was just like one of those things where we had to just get after it.
Yep.
And I think because you guys had it so well assembled and so well labeled, it made it pretty easy to put them up. I mean,
did you guys end up calling in to Build Sport and talking to Carrie or Charlotte or anybody like?
No, the only issues, we didn't have any missing parts. We didn't have any problems, in terms of getting them built. So we didn't need that kind of support. There are a couple of small parts that we're remedying, but they have nothing to do with the wood part of the kit, at least not the bunkies themselves. The bathroom bunkies, we have some remedies needed.
Yeah,
I think a couple of things.
I think on a couple of the bathroom bunkies, there was some cracks in some of the doors. But as soon as we wrote you guys about that, your customer support team were like, okay, tell us, let's go through all the building of the bathroom, see if you have this problem again. and then we'll figure out how to send you what you need.
Yeah, so we are at that point. We haven't done it yet where we need to just get the list of the couple of tiny things to like here, we need a couple of more uh door entry locks,
Yeah.
and a couple of bathroom door.
But remember, we're ordering a large volume of things. So
right.
And the other thing is there was on every we have you should see our spare wood kit now. Like you guys included enough spare wood where we could probably put up another bunkie.
At least like doghouse.
Yeah, we used some of the spare wood from the bunk, like because you had some extras in case something warped or something like that. You would add a couple extras of certain important pieces, and we had enough to where we could build a workbench. We built a workbench out of the spare bunkie wood.
Nice.
So we haul this workbench around and put all the tools on it. It goes from bunkie to bunkie as we're building.
Yeah,
it's great.
And we keep everything under like a one of those 10 by 10 tents that we anchor in the middle of the whole site. So all of our kit and everything we use sits up in the middle of this process, and we just move we clean up every night. We clean the site up like so that we're not in the end wasting days cleaning up our site. So we spend about an hour every night cleaning up our site, and then we put all the tools and we bring everything down and recharge everything, and then we go up the next day. And our crews usually we're down to like a couple people now, but our crews, when they show up, they usually show up around 9 in the morning. We have a roofing guy because we had so many roofs to put on. And, so we contracted and we got these really nice metal roofs that are going on now, for 10 bunkies. And, so that's plus the bathhouses. He shows up around 8 in the morning and he works until it gets too hot. And sometimes that's 2, sometimes that's 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And honestly, we've been working weekends too. We work whenever we can get somebody to continue working with us on the weekend. We work, every day because we want to get up open sometime this summer. And we're about 6 weeks away from opening now. We have all the bunkies up, all the bathhouses up, all the plumbing done for the bathhouses. The electric lines went from the front of the property to the areas now where the bunkies are. And now we have to dig trenches and put electric into every one of the bunkies because we're putting in lights and all that kind of stuff. And then after that, we have a separate septic system we have to put in because there's going to be any given night, maybe 20 people up there. And then we've also prepared for next year where we put in another 400 amp server at the bottom of the property where we're going to put in 5 more bunkies near our cider bar. And that's already, kitted out with the 400 amp box. So we're preparing for the future. So you guys got to keep building these things.
Okay, we'll keep working on that on our end. I got a few comments if you guys are open. I don't know if you can see the screen here, but I'll read them to you.
Okay.
So Angela Sundar Murthy says, I'm trying to plan my 50th birthday party with adults, like a summer camp, April 26th. I think it'll be open by then. Is that something?
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
Going to be a thing?
We'll be open by October this year.
Okay, sweet. If people want to, because 3 or 4 or 5 people are asking how do I get in touch with these folks, can I put your email address? Like, what would be the best way to have people reach out to you?
We have a Facebook page.
Okay.
It's called Virginia Backcountry Cabins.
Is it facebook.com/Virginia Backcountry Cabins?
I don't know if that's it, but if you go on Facebook,
find it.
Virginia
I'll type the
Backcountry
actual link.
Cabins.
Okay.
Our picture. So that's
Yeah. And then we do have a website, but it's more like right at this point,
landing page.
it's a landing page. We're designing it because we can't take reservations yet. We'll be able to take reservations about a month. Yeah. And and
that website is virginiabackcountry.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we're also going to have other stuff. It's not just going to be cabins on that. We're going to be able to rent some motorcycles to people who do touring and stuff around here. So, we're just trying to create this holistic experience. And we're going to be themed. So like, if you have a minute, I'll tell you a little bit about those. Like we have like a music cabin where on one side of the wall, instruments you can play them. And on the other side, you'll have a record player with all these albums. And if you're not really a musician, but you still like music, you can turn on some music. We'll have
and a small stage.
Yeah. We'll have a tiny little stage in one of the bunkies, believe it or not.
Locally.
Yeah. Cool. We have a climbing cabin, and hiking cabin. And the back of that, we're going to have a climbing wall in the back of it. We have a film cabin because I'm a film guy. That's what I do. So it's inside. It's going to have theater seats for 2 people. And
oh, I lost you guys. Hopefully that's not me. Can you guys hear me? People are saying I lost sound. Oh
separate
no.
stage, so that you can also have bands and stuff there. We built that into the back of the bunkie. We've got two motorcycle cabins because there's a lot of motorcycle touring around here. One's like an off-road adventure cabin that actually has a 1985 Sega arcade machine in it. That's a motorcycle machine, motorcycle arcade game. And then we have a retro motorcycle bunkie. We have a rider's cabin. We have a nature cabin.
Fly
We have a
fishing.
fly fishing cabin because fly fishing is really big around here. So, anyways, this is just some of them. But when you come, they're all going to be uniquely decorated, and you'll be able to pick out which ones on our site once we get it decorated. We over the winter we couldn't do construction, so we spent our entire winter acquiring stuff for these cabins to really theme them out. It's because we don't want to waste time as soon as we got to building. So, we're just trying to be really thoughtful. Because we think, the size, you want to think it's small, and the inside you got 10 by 10 space, but if it's really beautiful and it's really well designed and thought out really carefully, people will want to come and stay there. They won't think about the size. And plus,
Yeah.
if you have really nice decks, like one of our decks is a 14-foot long deck. It's bigger than the bunkie itself. And somebody was like, your deck is 14 feet, but your bunkie is only 10 by 10. I'm like, so what? Like, we're gonna put picnic tables on this deck so you can
Thought it would look weird, and then it went up, and it looks
and it looks
fantastic.
great.
Yeah.
So,
Big deck energy. That's what you need at one of these places. Big deck energy. Love it.
Yeah, big deck
And
energy.
different. Some wrap around, some are angled in front. We didn't want it to be super cookie cutter, and the cabins aren't even arranged in like succinct rows. They're kind of they're communal, but I don't know, they're scattered in thoughtful ways that made sense so that you have the most privacy you can while still having this proximity. We had originally thought we would spread the cabins out over several acres along. We have a mile-long creek that runs through the property that runs year-round, and we were going to dot along there. And then the electrician came and visited the site for the first time and said,
Yeah.
do you have
$250,000 for your electrical?
Yeah.
And
Are you
So
guys
we're
going
like,
to be
okay, everybody's gonna be
everybody's gonna be closer.
Michelle was asking, are you going to be
More
open
family
up,
reunions.
are you guys going to be open up year round? What's your kind of like seasonality?
Yes.
We're close to in West Virginia, about 3 miles from us is the West Virginia border. We're in Western Virginia, but West Virginia, 3 miles away, has a snowshoe ski resort, and those ski resorts are like 400 to $1,000 a night.
Whoa.
And if we're coming in at like say $170 a night, and we have a really good sort of communal feel down here with a little bar and all that kind of stuff, they're like 30 miles away. We think people will stay here for the value, and then they'll stay many times returning because we're fun to be around,
Yeah. Cool.
And so we also have this. There's a observatory that's close to here. It's one of the largest observatories in the world. It's a radio.
Very famous hot springs not too far away. So
Yeah.
there's things all around us
Yeah.
for people to do, and I think we'll be one of the most budget-friendly options around. And
We're gonna have cold plunging and redneck hot tubs and all that kind of stuff.
it's like an adult playground.
That's so cool. Well, so I guess is there anything about the experience working with us that we could have improved on? Anything you're like, oh, that sucked, or anything like that you want to warn people about these crazy Canadians and their bunkies?
No, I mean like the good. Oh, there's the dog barking at something. Hope it's not a bear. No, I think that I'm Canadian too, right? So we live in an area that's really famous for its maple syrup. So this was like a really cool thing for us to move here, and we were like, oh, it feels Canadian. It feels like a rural place in sort of Ontario, and so it feels very at home to me. They just have different accents, and but I think working with you guys, first of all, we started talking to Bryn like well over a year ago, like a year and a half ago at this point. And we started having regular conversations with him like every Friday. And to all you guys who don't know, Bryn's one of the folks that works with Bunkie Life, who helps you sort of like understand what you can do and how you can go about doing it, and then sort of like helps you on your sales process. And you call him, this guy with an English accent answers the phone, and you talk to him for like an hour. And I think I talked to Bryn 15 times before we even got to. No, it must have been more than that, probably 20 times before we were even in a position to buy one.
Yeah.
Over the course of months and months. And I think that made us very comfortable because there weren't questions he couldn't answer, and there weren't things he couldn't get us answers to. And the whole process of buying and how we paid and all that stuff was very sort of seamless. I don't like, I don't like, you guys were never an issue. The only issues we had were like, you know, I would say to people on here who are thinking about doing something like this, you know, if it's not just a onesie, twosie kind of thing, first of all, don't come to Western Virginia. We don't want to compete with you. That would make me mental. But
There.
the second thing is, you have to really get your arms wrapped, like the woman who talked about how she couldn't build her bunkie and how to get a refund. Like, imagine trying to open a mini resort and you have 135 acres, and then you find that the very first week you're here, that the Virginia Department of Transportation requires you to have 500 feet of sight line on both sides of your driveway, and you don't have it. So you have to spend $40,000 excavating your driveway, right? Before you buy a single bunkie. And so my lesson is like study everything you possibly can about the regulations in your city, your county, your state, or your province, and figure out what you can and can't do before you make a leap, because you might reach a point where
If it becomes not a money problem anymore, it can become like a literal permanent roadblock.
Yeah.
We were just lucky that we were able to solve that sightline problem with
Yeah.
money, but there were plenty of properties we looked at and actually had put offers on and didn't get, thank goodness, where it would have been a no-go. Like we wouldn't have been able to even get that sight line.
And we learn that stuff along the way, and you know how to navigate like city and county planning boards, and how to navigate, you know, county commissions and county health departments, board of supervisors. You really have to really be smart about that. Like we have jumped through all those obstacles. The easiest part was the bunkies. The easiest part of bunkies, all we had to do is get them delivered and put them up. But everything else regulatory wise is something you really have to think through, and they cost like our bunkies. Let's just say our bunkies cost us around, you know, close to 200,000 or something like that with everything said and done. We probably have another 400 plus thousand in infrastructure.
Yeah.
You know, that's not including the price of our property or our house that was already existing. So we had 100,000 in electricity, we had 40,000 in sightline, we had, you know, and it goes 25,000 in septic systems, and it goes on and on and on and up and up and up. So you know, you need to put, you know, we thought at first we'll just be off grid and we'll put up some bunkies, everything will be cool. A couple hundred grand, we'll be a couple hundred grand, we'll be renting them out. And the next thing you know, you're in for 600,000. So, you know, and we're not regretting that, because we already know we've had people, so many people calling every day to ask if they can rent. So we know we're going to rent, but you do have to understand the infrastructure of the place, you know, and the politics and everything around you, before you make a big leap and try something big.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that like, so in my experience, and we'll probably talk about this tomorrow night when we do the actual Airbnb one, but like the bunkie itself, never an issue. The demand for people wanting to stay in these things is almost, I wouldn't say unlimited, but at least like I've never ever had a slow night. Like if I didn't want to be, if I wanted to be booked, I could be booked pretty much every night of the week, as long as it was like, you know.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to circle back though to just point out, to answer the question, what was the hardest part? I think for us, for me at least, the hardest part was figuring out the foundations that we wanted, what we wanted to do with roofs, and what we wanted to do for heating and cooling. You know, and that's outside of bunkie build, but it's definitely part of it. And I think it's a part we under.
Oh no, we lost you again. Part we underestimated? Understood completely. Appreciated.
Choose your foundation. We make these bunkies so you choose your roofing. And if you're like us and you don't know, you don't have that skill set, those I think were the hardest decisions.
Okay. Some of that cut out, but I think we got the gist of what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, I super appreciate, are you guys cool with me taking a few questions from people if they
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm just gonna reiterate where we're headed over the next little bit, and then we'll do more questions. So we did some questions, we did some answers. We'll come back to that, of course. I would be remiss if I didn't remind people that yes, you could be just like Jeff and Holly. You could own a bunkie yourself. You don't have to spend bajillions of dollars. You can just get one or two. You can ease your way in. That's what I did. But some people leap in too. So our epic winter sale, our epic end of summer sale is going to be kicking off as soon as the contest closes in about 10 days. But if you want early access, you want to know more about it, do the subject, email me personally, subject line sale, and I'll shoot you more info as soon as I get a breather and get to a computer without kids. That's kind of the deal. And yeah, let's take a few more questions, because it's like so helpful to find stuff from people who are actually doing it, right? As opposed to like people who are thinking about doing it or whatever. You're in the trenches right now. Very, very interesting. So if you got questions for Jeff and Holly, a lot of people are asking, how do I book? You're not taking bookings yet, is that correct?
Right, but you could go to our Facebook page and start following us at Virginia Backcountry Cabins, and you'll start seeing what we're doing. You can see some of our videos that we put up, pretty regularly the last couple weeks, and then you'll be able to know when we're officially starting to take reservations.
Okay, awesome. And you're thinking it might be as soon as like end of September, October?
Mid-September would be the soonest. I'm going to say mid to late September.
Yeah,
definitely by October.
Yeah, definitely by
You know,
October. Leaf changing season is something we really have to be open for.
Oh
That's
man,
right.
that's the best time in Virginia. That's so true. Okay, Christine Barbre asks, how do you deal with taxes on the rental side of this yet? I'm sure it's a Holly question.
Well, there are local tax rates, and we're working with a reservation software company that those will be automatically calculated. I find out what the local rates are. I have, and I plug those in, and those yeah. So I'm using specific reservation software. I can't give an endorsement of it yet, but it is a software company that came recommended by a local friend who has an inn. So we're very fortunate. We have a really supportive local community. But if she wants to follow us on Facebook and message privately, I'd be happy to share the information about who I'm using. But I can't, like I said, I can't give a specific endorsement of it because I haven't used it yet.
But they have been working with us like Bunkie Life.
Great.
And they've been every step of the way, working with us to make sure that when we do get ready to go live with our reservations, our web page will then be much more robust, and
Yes.
you'll be able to see all the pictures.
Everything. They integrate with all of the booking companies, Expedia, Kayak. You appear on, Google. They integrate with Airbnb, all of that, because we're not going to be specific to Airbnb. I want more of just a lodging facility, but I want to appear there. Yeah. I'm happy to share that information. And I did look and make sure that they had the features that, as a consumer booking things, they had features in the way that I like to see them, because some booking sites are very confusing, and I don't want to have to click on every room and to see what the availability is. I like to see the big overarching calendar, and so there were some things that would have been non-starters for me that they are really good about. So yeah, they've been really easy to work with.
That's great. Yeah. So back when I was doing, I've kind of stopped doing my Airbnbs for really since we bought the factory, so about 3-4 years now. But like we could fill ourselves up with just Airbnb alone, and we're like booked solidly through it. So I first thought I was going to be on all the sites and do all the things, and then eventually just Airbnb, simple, easy, boom, and like that was kind of how that's also how I did all my taxes too. But there's another couple good questions. So hold on. What stain did you use to weatherproof your cabins? I think that's where you're at right now, is you're staining, right?
Well, we've stained all the cabins with the stain and chinking and end seal that you guys sell. We bought enough for 10, 14, 15 buildings. So you could probably talk about those products a little bit more. And then on the inside, we're staining with sort of like stuff you get at Lowe's, and then we're doing floors in a sort of a double polyurethane so that they don't wear out when guests come in and out. We were advised by a friend of ours to do one coat of stain this year and then stain the second coat in the spring.
Okay.
To see how well the stain stayed, and to see if it got any darker or anything like that before we plowed on 2 coats. And this is a guy who owns a bunch of cabins himself in the same county we're in. He's been doing it for like 20 or 30 years. He came up and looked, and he goes, just do one coat right now, and then wait until spring after the winter comes and see how much, you need to, you'll probably put a second coat on in spring. So that's kind of where we're at.
Buy a good sprayer.
But oh yeah, buy it. Yeah, like you can paint these all by hand, but if you're doing several, like the one thing I would say is really get a good sprayer that does stain and paint. And just clean it really well each day. They're really easy to clean. If you ever, like, somebody on there wants to know how to clean I can tell you now, it's pretty simple. It seems complicated if you've never done it, but once you've done it once or twice, it becomes really easy. It saves you so much time. We had a guy we did the inside of 6 cabins today, and the floors of 4 bathhouses, and he ended up cutting the grass while he was here. I mean, like, all because we had a
Yeah, a really good sprayer. We tried it. We had like a couple of the cheap ones you can buy. Don't do it. Invest the $500, get a decent one.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing like 4 or 5 bunkies, like it's well worth your time, and you'll use it over and over again. Like the biggest thing
Use
for
them
us,
decks,
yeah,
everything. I get
the
it.
biggest thing we think is that to keep these things living as long as we'd like them to live, which, I'm 57, I'll be dead in 20 years. So let's say I live to 80. Our goal is to be able to keep these things in tip-top shape. So we're gonna have every year, we're gonna have to restain, these things, we think, and we're gonna have to reseal, with some Johnson's water seal or something on the Thompson's water seal, sorry, on the decks. And we're going to need to do probably some new polyurethane every few years for the floors because of the amount of traffic that'll come in and out. And so, we just want to make sure that we protect our investment. And the best way to do that is just have a list and, 4 times a year where you have to do certain things, you just get out and do them. Like anything else, you don't put oil in your car regularly, your car is not going to have a long engine life. So we just look at it that we have to do that to maintain these things so that our customers are happy with the quality of these things for years to come.
Yep, that's a great answer. Nancy asks, she says, question, what made you choose Bunkie Life bunkies over all the other options out there? I did not pay her to ask that question, but that was what she asked from you.
I mean, I think for me, I was looking for simplicity of builds and pricing, and you think, okay, you got a couple $100,000 for 10 bunkies and some bathhouses. Like, where are you going to get the best value for that? And how are you going to build them? Are you going to buy existing ones and have them shipped? Are you going to buy? There's people that build cabins around here, by the way. I mean, Virginia has a lot of really smart, carpenters and, architects and lots of people that can put these things together. But the other thing is that you guys had a tried and true system. So I looked a lot for months and months on end about these stories that you're hearing, just to see, is this true? Is this hokey? Are these just paid people to say stuff or whatever? And you get a real sense of, by just following you guys really carefully over time, what works and what doesn't. And I looked at a bunch of different companies, and this one just worked, for me and what we were trying to do from both a monetary standpoint and a simplicity of construction standpoint. You guys make it so easy to put together, tongue and groove. I mean, it's like rubber mallet your way around the building, and put some screws in the side and, just follow the directions. We would have somebody sit in a fold out chair in front of each bunkie and just go, okay, next thing is, whatever, E3 or whatever, and the people in there would go, okay, well, hand me a E3 or is it whatever. And that way we just knew we were following the directions you guys. It wasn't like following directions on like a piece of Chinese furniture, you know what I mean? Where you open up and it's written in English, but probably sounds like it's written in Chinese. I mean, everything was very simplistic. The pictures were very easy to follow. You know, so I think that, those were the major reasons why we went with that company.
Canada.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing is Canada. I'm Canadian. So
gotta rep
I wanted to have these things because they're made in Canada. And the thing is, we knew we were moving to a climate that's up in the mountains and a little bit, and you guys were advertising these as 3.5 seasons. And I said, well, that's 3.5 in Canada. That's like 4+ seasons down here in Virginia. So I knew that they'd be able to handle the winter if we heated them properly and insulated them well.
Yeah, cool. That's a good answer. Well, okay, so give us a little bit of the dirt though. Like, I feel like it's been too much of a glowing, like happy. Like, is there a couple moments where you're just like pulling your hair out, or like give us some of that?
What?
I mean, it's hard. The hardest part, if we're doing what we're doing, which is probably different than everybody else is going to do, right? Maybe they'll put it in 2 or 3, but if they put in 10 or 15, it's just really hard to grind like that for months on end, like 3. And I think the other thing is, like, you guys, your guarantee is you guarantee them as long as they're up in 30 days. We had them up in 32. We figure that's close enough.
Yeah.
But we haven't been able to excavate one of our sites for the cabana yet. So it's sitting wrapped and very careful. And it's going on 2 months. So we're,
Yeah, we don't know how that's going to go.
we're worried about that, right? So we have these things that when you go to sleep at night, worried about every little thing. And the other thing is, we had, like, maybe 10 of the 40 people that we originally had booked didn't show up for whatever reason. So you get stressed out about like, am I going to have enough people to help do this week? You know, that's the hardest part, you know. And if you get like, we had one of the weekenders, but the weekender is not my favorite one, mostly for a couple reasons. One, they're actually harder to put up than the Havens, in my opinion. I put up two of them, and so I don't love the weekenders. We have two of them, and on the weekenders we had a little problem twice above the door frame getting that piece to seat properly with the top of the two windows and the door frame. And we still have one of those that's got a little space in between it above the door. So we're gonna have to engineer a solution for
We're gonna
that.
have to spread the short boards between the door and the window out.
Yeah.
Space them and
That
like, try to
tends to, that little thing can sometimes self-correct as the bunkie kind of
it's about a
reaches.
half
Yeah.
an inch.
Yeah, yeah. That
So
was, like a lot of times the
it's
bunkie
more
kind of
than
it kind of expands and contracts, but it might not be like, it might not go down to zero. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so we'll figure out a way to fix that. But like, if you get into the bunkie and you suddenly, oh, the other thing, I'll tell you one of the things that really made us mental. We got really cocky after like bunkie number 3, and we forgot we forgot a window.
Oh no!
So I'll try not to cuss through this, but we ended up fucking having to take 9 rows off that we
Yeah.
had put on.
Yeah.
And it's not just 9 rows on one wall because they're all interlaced.
Yeah.
So you have to take 9 rows off all the
Times
way
4.
around and start again. And that was frustrating. But that's not like your all's fault. That's like our fault for
Yeah,
getting
I
the
own a
windows.
company. I've done that myself once a year. I'd probably do that.
It made us mental. And if your friends are helping, right, and they're only here for 3 days, and you've just wasted half a day because you
Yeah.
screwed up, you feel really stupid.
Yeah.
So that's why we ended up going with like sitting somebody basically down in a chair and saying, you know, sit here and read the directions every bit of the way so that we don't make those mistakes again.
Yeah, the other advice we would probably give is have a lot of help when you're doing the beams up top. Those things are heavy. You
Mhm.
know, we would normally, there'd be 3 or 4 of us, you know, hoisting. And I mean, and when you're just working with ladders, it can be really, luckily Jeff's is really, really strong.
Yeah.
So boom.
We had a lot of help. But at one point when I think we were putting up the weekender, one of those beams is heavy, seemingly
Like heavier than the Havens,
Yeah.
the weekender beams.
So at one point we have an ATV, you know, 4-wheeler, and we had a piece of scaffolding that we put on the side of the wall, and we ran the ATV winch over the scaffolding to lift the beam up onto the scaffolding, so we would only have to lift it over 2 feet.
I like that.
And that was like really cool. We felt like engineers for the day. But then the next day we put up the next weekender, and like 2 big guys picked up the same beam and just threw it over the top. So, you know, I would say like, you know, if you're putting these up and I'm 57, you know, and you're not like 27 anymore, those beams are something you want to make sure you have extra help around to. And it's a bit precarious. The gate kind of wobbly at that point. So you're putting a big heavy beam on a wobbly gate. And once the beams are in, the gables stabilize.
Yeah, and you can't drag the beams up or you'll ruin the wood. So
Yeah.
you really have to like,
Yeah.
those are challenging.
But big enough, 2 to lift it up and then 2 to put it on. And I think that's probably something that I would suggest, you know, if the gals want to put one together, make sure that they have their strongest friends.
CrossFitters or something.
Yeah, make sure they're CrossFitters beams up that day.
Okay, cool, awesome. Okay, some people are asking. Someone was saying about, do you ship to Louisiana? Yeah, we shipped to 40 something, like almost all the states last year, and this year. What's your favorite bunkies? Natalia asks.
The chalet, but I love the chalet.
It's really weird.
Such a cute
I mean,
bunkie.
I'm between the chalet and but we only have 3
Yeah.
versions of it, right? We have the Weekender, the chalet, and the
Haven
Ultra. I love the Haven Ultra. The upstairs space in the Haven Ultra is great. It's tall enough for me. I'm 6 foot, almost 6'1", and I can walk down the middle of it. So that's really cool. The Weekenders, the pictures show on the Weekenders that you can put two twin beds on the side.
I discovered it's only exactly 6 feet and a half inch.
Yeah.
Not 6.5 feet.
Yeah.
So I thought I could put regular twins there, and lo and behold, the only twins that could fit on the sides there are like the RV twins that are exactly 72 inches long. So I
Yeah.
have some of those, but that's going to restrict my ability to rent like I'm literally going to have to caveat, if you're over 6 feet tall, just be aware these mattresses are only 72 inches long. So,
Yeah.
we could turn them sideways and do some things.
If I would make,
But like, I just looked at the picture on your website, saw the two twins. I'm like, great.
yeah, I would say the biggest thing I would say, David, is like, maybe add another foot to that half loft.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
make all the
yeah.
difference.
It'd make a big difference with the twin mattresses and
Yeah.
taller people.
And it's really
But
just one or
anyways,
two more floorboards. It's not a big deal. Like,
yeah, but like
yeah.
I love the Haven Ultras because the big open space on the top, and we thought we had a little bit extra money, so we're like, let's just buy some of the chalets because they're cheaper and that's what we can afford.
For old people who may not want to climb a ladder, or we even have friends that, have like physical issues that don't want to climb a ladder. And it turns, the chalet, there's just something really, really, really charming about it. And we're going to do, bunk beds in there. And it's like, they're just super cool. And when you put a deck on the outside, you really increase that living space. We
Yeah,
love them.
that's the key. If you get a nice deck on the chalet, it doesn't look small. And then when you walk into the chalet, you kind of think, oh, it's 10 by 10, but it's not restricted by a loft ceiling. So it's got really high ceilings. So it doesn't feel tight.
Yeah.
It feels like it's bigger than we ever thought it would. So I think probably what we'll end up doing next year is buying 2 or 3 chalets and either another Haven Ultra or maybe even that bigger one that you guys came out with this year that's like 350 square feet or something. But I'll have to get like, I'll have to get like another, 5, 6 guys to come out again and put them up with me.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I like it. Some really good questions here in the chat. Trying to think. People are asking about specific shipping questions. I'd probably email me, but like we can ship anywhere in North America, so we can definitely make it happen. If the answer is, how much does it cost? You probably want to know exactly where you are. If you're on a crazy mountain, it might be a little more expensive, but if you can get to it, it might be less than you think. It's usually.
But I think you guys had this thing where it was going to cost like 1,000 or 1,500 to ship, but then we bought 10, and because we basically got the whole truck, it was only 4,000, and that included the white glove.
Yeah, the shipping was a lot less
Yeah.
than I thought it was.
So consider that. If you're like you're going to buy 3, just consider getting them and doing it all at once because you'll save money on shipping. They'll give you a better deal on it. At least I think
especially if you're in like a random remote area. Like there's this area in Ontario called Thunder Bay, which is kind of like the armpit. Like you can't get there easily, and it's just expensive to ship there for some reason. And so one person bought a bunkie. They're like, "Oh, next year I'll get the bathroom," and like the cost to ship just a random one off to like these really remote areas is like you should have just got it the first year because there's almost like more to ship it. But there's a lot of areas of America where we can get now because we have so much actual trucks going that it's a lot less than it was last year for sure. So,
and your shipping guys were like you had a guy who was like in charge of our bunkie shipping who was here in the States, and he was really really engaging. He like you call if you ever had anything shipped to you like UPS or FedEx or anything like that, you're used to having all these hassles and when's it going to deliver and they give you a stupid window or whatever.
Yeah.
This guy was like, we'll have it there between 7 and 9 in the morning, and the guy who will offload it will be there. And he comes from a different place, and here's his number, and here's the other person's number. And so that's the part that I was like really stressed out about because I was like, when these things show up, if this guy's not on time, we're going to be blocking a road, in front of our house and all this kind of stuff. And I think you guys have like a pretty good system there with, I know they don't work directly for you and their contractors, but the guy you had working for you to deliver ours was fantastic. Like I would, it makes me even more confident to order 5 next year, knowing they'll all be run through this guy.
Yeah, that guy, I think it's probably Will. Is it Will?
Yeah, Will.
Yeah, Will's good. Yeah, we're trying to find the hidden gems. Will does most of our American stuff now, and Stacy's just like really like tight with him. So yeah, like it's been this past year has been a learning curve. So I can't say everyone had an amazing shipping experience for in every state, but generally speaking, I think next year or this year and next year, we've got a lot of those kinks ironed out, and it's been overall like I'd say like B+ for everybody, and then but we're aiming for A+. I think by next year it's going to be A+. For sure.
We had ours had to be delivered over 4 mountain ranges. Like we're 4 mountain ranges away from the nearest interstate, like big mountain ranges. And the fact that they got them here is kind of a bit of a mystery to us.
We have good roads. Also be prepared to be a spectacle. We have people around here just stopping.
Going just to take pictures of them being offloaded.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, well, is there anything that you would want, like, let's say you're thinking about this and you're kind of hemming and hawing, and you're you a year ago. What would you say to yourself a year ago in terms of the whole process, just everything you've been through? What would you want to communicate to someone who's kind of hemming and hawing?
Well, it depends on how many they're buying. I mean, if you're buying one, it's going to be a really easy experience. Like what you're hearing from us today is two people that are two people that are basically trying to build a mini resort on their own. But if you're just buying one or two, like because you want to have room for the grandparents or something, or you want to have room for, the mother-in-law, it's going to be it's going to take you 3 days, maybe 4 days if you don't know what you're doing to put it up. And that's like not even 12-hour days or anything. It's just like a regular day, like 8 hours. You'll be done, in 3 days probably. And if you're, dumb like me, maybe 4.
Foundations, roofs,
Oh,
sticking,
yeah.
all that will take you longer than building the bunkie. But I would say like if you're considering doing anything close to what we're doing, for us, the decision to use Bunkie Life and the bunkie building itself is probably the easiest part of this and one of the best decisions we made. It's all the other stuff around it that we hadn't considered that has been the most challenging.
Yeah, spend money on a foundation, like we probably spent $3,500 on our foundations for each building. And then, our roofs are going to work out.
Hey, and if you're going to do concrete in your foundations, have a water source.
Yeah, we carted our water by hand from a creek.
Gallon buckets.
Like 100 meters, 440.
You got like 60 sonotubes.
Yeah, 60 sonotubes, 440, 60-pound bags of concrete to do all the sonotubes for this, and had to be dug with an excavator. And we had to carry the water by hand from the creek to hand mix this concrete because we're so far remotely up this mountainside.
Yeah.
So anyways, think about what potential obstacles you're going to have and work those things out before the bunkie comes. And then I just say, like, get a good foundation. These things, I mean, honestly, they're really well built and they're tongue and groove, but the wood itself is 1.5 inches thick, right? The walls are 1.5 inches thick. They're not like 4 inches thick or something like that. And generally, you're not going to be putting insulation on the walls and drywall and stuff like that. At least we didn't do that. We don't want to ruin the look. So for that to last, through wind and time and all that kind of stuff, it just needs a good foundation. So
good squaring and leveling to start.
Yeah,
that means everything.
We can show, if you write us or something and you're interested in this, we can show you the foundations that we built and how we put them together. They followed largely what you guys had organizationally as some of the options there. But if you're putting up one or two, it might take you 4 days to put your foundation up if you're doing a really elaborate foundation. Some people just put them on these little blocks, but we want ours to last like 25 years.
And we're in a really, really rocky soil. So
Yeah.
we couldn't even, Jeff and a friend spent an entire day trying to dig holes for sonotubes and got 2
Yeah.
dug out of
Oh, yeah.
60.
Two by hand.
And we just went, well, we got to get
Yeah.
we got to get a digger in here, and we had to like dig trenches out of here because there's just nothing but rocks.
Yeah. So think about that, how you're going to put it up. And if you're going to dig down into the foundation, are you going to have rocky terrain, or how are you going to deal with that if you can't dig into, bedrock or whatever? And then think about your insulation issues, how long you want to use this thing. We want to keep it open year round. So we went pretty hardy on the insulation on the floor and the ceiling. And we got really, really hardy metal roofs, like that will last, guaranteed to last 30 years. And, they were not cheap. So, you want to maybe do a budget for your bunkie that includes not just the bunkie purchase itself, but a foundation with a certain type of foundation that you want. Do a budget for that as well, and then do a budget for your insulation and your roofing. That's your real number.
Yeah.
And I would say, and I don't, like let's say a bunkie cost us $13,000, right? Something in that neighborhood. I'm just throwing a number out. It probably, by the time we were all said and done, we're going to be sort of 22,000 in.
Okay.
But we're also not doing it on the cheap. And I'm sure you can get a $13,000 bunkie and be up and running with people that, you don't have to hire any contractors. You can do everything yourself.
You don't have electric.
You don't have electric. You don't have all this kind of things. You could probably be, in for like say 16 or 17,000. But I'm realistically, if you're trying to make it look nice and function all year round, you're going to be in for, say 22,000. And
Yep.
those are just the numbers you want to work out.
Yeah,
And that'll
that's
tell
great
you,
advice.
should I buy 5 this year, 3 this year, or 10 this year? You know?
Cool. Awesome. Well, I super appreciate you guys taking the time to just go into the detail, because like it's nice to hear the actual numbers from people that are in the trenches doing it. It's nice to hear what the experience was like. And yeah, I just super appreciate you guys taking the time. So tomorrow night we'll go into like Airbnb. I'll share from my experience. And obviously we got a lot of kind of like this is almost like a sneak peek of tomorrow night's thing, which is going to be all about like, how do you make this work even on a one person Airbnb or one bunkie Airbnb all the way up to, like in I think there's people in Texas that have like a similar to you guys, like 10 or 12 chalets, and they've all themed them out and stuff. Have you guys checked them out, the Bowley Bunkies in Galveston?
No, I heard about them. I heard
Yeah.
originally
I looked.
somebody was telling me that you guys had somebody who had 8 at one point when we had ordered 15 buildings. They had ordered 8 buildings, and I don't know if they've ordered more since then or not. But we were just happy because that made us like
You're
biggest.
the number one. I think you're still the number one. Yeah, that makes sense.
And we're gonna keep building, David. So
5
Okay,
acres. No one's
and if you
gonna
haven't already, you got to follow them on their Facebook page. Check out their website, and it's all kind of coming together. If we, we'll repost this probably later, and when you guys open, or maybe we'll interview you again once you're open, and then we'll send you to the actual website. But for now, just follow them on Facebook and DM them, and they'll let you know when the whole thing is. I just appreciate you guys so much taking the time.
Yeah. Oh, and the other thing is we're posting some stuff on our personal pages. So if you're really, really wanting to get into what we're doing, we're posting stuff on virginiabackcountry.com, or excuse me, we're posting stuff on our Facebook page, Virginia Backcountry Cabins. But you could also try to follow us on, my personal one is Jeffrey Newton, and you'll see a picture of me. And then you might even be able to try to get Holly Hughes, because we're posting like some more tongue-in-cheek stuff on our personal pages,
Yep. Okay, I like it. That's awesome. Cool. Well, let's continue the conversation in 6-ish weeks and see where each other are at, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Hopefully, no wildfires or
bears.
no bears.
no murderous
Bear
bears.
dog.
Okay, awesome,
All right.
guys. Super
Thank
appreciate you
you.
guys taking the time, and let's give them a big round of applause. Jeff and Holly, thanks so much for taking the time.
All right.
Pleasure. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, guys, it's been a slice. It's been an hour and a half. We've taken the questions. We've taken the answers. I wanted to reiterate, we do have, you can get early in on the sale if you email me. That's going to drop as soon as this contest closes, and we're announcing that contest close. When is that happening? It's just 10 days from now. So you can't sleep on that. You cannot sleep on that. Let me just reiterate the upcoming live streams that are happening in the next little bit. So tomorrow night, we'll talk about Airbnbs, how to earn income from bunkies, earn bunkie income. And then next week, not this coming Monday, but the Monday after, why we do this, we'll be live talking about that. And then, of course, announcing the winner on Wednesday, the 27th. Thanks for taking the time. We have a code word. That code word is memories. You can go on the contest scoreboard page and go to the memories, or type in memories, and we will do that. I want to invite you to do that right here. bunkielife.com/bunkie-contest scoreboard. Go do it right now. Click on memories. Let's make some memories. And thanks so much for taking the time to tune in live. And we'll see you again in about 24 hours. Actually, 22.5 hours.